Good evening, everybody. This is meteorologist Andrew Pinero with this next weekend outlook forecast. Now, for this one, it's actually going to be a fairly quiet weekend. And for those that don't like the cold, you may be liking this weekend a little bit more than the past couple days, especially today. As of this recording, I have 24 degrees outside. So it is cold, but it's not going to be like that for a part of the weekend. So let's start to take a look at some things about the weekend now. So I'm going to switch over to my computer screen here. And what we're seeing here, I have the National Weather Service pulled up for the weather forecast office from Upton here. And one interesting thing, you don't see this too often, a hydrologic outlook. So there's nothing else in terms of, there's always this little small craft advisory that's more into the ocean, but there's no other types of watches, warnings, or advisories. But here, hydrologic outlook. And let's take a look at that view here. So now I'm going to switch over to Binghamton. It didn't show me before, but here's Binghamton with this green coloring. Now with that, we have right here, hydrologic outlook. And here's the summary. Although snow cover has increased across the central New York basins, snow depth and water equivalent remain generally only near to below average in most locations and especially across the northeast Pennsylvania. The major rivers and headwater tributaries are running slightly higher than typical for this time of the year, but there is no significant ice cover. Ground states remain unusually moist and partially frozen, with a lack of significant rainfall or warmer than seasonally average temperatures expected for the next 2 weeks. The overall assessment of the flood potential for the National Weather Service Binghamton hydrologic outlook area is below average. So, what that's saying is there's not really a high potential for flooding. And this comes up just because even though it's in what they were saying in the basins, there's still moisture, but it's partially frozen. That partially frozen moisture uh, actually prevents a lot of the flooding. So that's why the flooding risk they're saying right now is below average. So that is important to know, especially when we start going into maybe some rain for next week. We're not going to talk about that in this video, though. This is the weekend outlook. So let's get back to the computer. And here, we're not going to spend too much, but there is a lot of data that you can go through inside of this. But otherwise, besides that, there's really nothing here. And when we take a look at the radar, it's kind of the same thing. Most of the country, look at this. It's very quiet across most of the country here. The southern half of California, the coastline there, is seeing some showers right now and going a little bit into the US Mexico border here. But that is really about it. Very quiet throughout the northeast. Most of the southeast, there's some stuff coming off the ocean, just about to hit the east coast of Florida there, but that's really about it. And when we take a look at the satellite, we're pretty much seeing the same thing. Nice clear air throughout most of the country. Now, right here, I have the shortwave infrared up, but I want to switch this now to the nighttime microphysics, which is kind of like, think of it as visible satellite at night. So with this, we're seeing some detail here of multiple flow patterns throughout different layers of the atmosphere in this cloud cover going into the Atlantic Ocean. But otherwise, we're seeing a lot of clear air here, which is a really good thing. And when we take a look at the hydrological, no, the weather prediction center, this high pressure is in place, and that's what's giving us this really calm weather. And it was really sunny today. So here we got high pressure and a little bit of a high pressure going into the western part of the country as well. And this high is going to be sticking around for a little bit longer, which is a good thing going into the weekend. So here, let's take a look at the GFS first. And I have this zoomed out a little bit more. Normally I have just the Northeast, but I have the Eastern US in this just because this high was so big. So this is showing 1036 millibar high, which is a pretty strong high. Not the strongest, but decently strong. And when I advance here, come on, there we go. Once I advance here, we're seeing this high stay in place throughout Saturday and Sunday. Then going into Monday, it's starting to retreat, and we're seeing this next low pressure system here start to make its way into the Northeast. But the other thing to note here, if we go into Saturday, look at where the 540 line is here on the GFS. And now going into Sunday, look at that line retreat north. It is slowly warming up. And going into the first part of the week on Monday, that 540 line really does start to move north. Now, that's as far as we're going to look here because remember, this is the weekend outlook forecast. All right, so this is a little bit out of order. Where'd pivotal weather go? Ah, here it is. So we went from the good old tropical tidbits to pivotal weather. And here I just have the lower 48 view. This is showing that high at 1041 millibar. And here, as we're starting to advance through, we're seeing that high pretty much stay in place through tomorrow. So tomorrow looks like a pretty calm day as well. And going into Sunday, it looks like another calm day. But getting into Monday here, that the positioning of this low pressure system is not too far different from the GFS. So this is 12Z Monday, and this is also 12Z Monday. Not that much of a difference, slight differences, but still about the same thing. We got a low up here, a low here, and a high here. That's very similar between these two forecast models. So that's saying for the next few days, my confidence is pretty high for this very calm weekend. And now going into the icon model. Back of the tropical tidbits here. The high stays in place there, keeping everything at bay through Saturday and through Sunday. And that 540 line here does start to retreat. Later going to the later Sunday and Monday. And here, 12Z Monday. There's a low up here, a low here, and a high here. So just about the same positioning. And now, here, let's take a look at the NAM. The NAM, again, doesn't go out as far, but that high stays pretty stationary going through Saturday, going through Sunday, and then Monday. Here we go, Monday 12Z. Just about the same thing. There's something extra here that I didn't see on the others, but there's a low, and here's a high. So just about the same positioning for those. So my confidence is fairly high with this forecast. And the last thing I want to show you guys here, the MOS data. First thing here, look at the cloud cover. Clear, clear, clear. All this clear, few, clear, few. This is something I like seeing because I like the sunny weather for the weekends. But when we take a look at the temperatures, overnight low tonight. So this is from Newark, 21, 24. So that's about what we're seeing right now into these low 20s. And here, Islip, upper teens. Then White Plains, upper teens. So So that's the overnight lows. Then we start to warm up just a little bit. The highs for tomorrow, mid to upper 40s. And we're seeing again the mid to upper 40s or more mid 40s. And then here, mid 40s, upper 40s. So it's starting to get a little bit warmer. Back into the 20s overnight. And then the low 30s. But then look at this for Sunday. Mid 50s. Low to mid 50s. Low to mid 50s there. Low 50s. Upper 40s. And there we go. Low 50s. So upper 40s to, I would say, mid 50s is what we would see for the temperatures over the next couple of days, which is pretty nice. All right. So that pretty much wraps up this weekend outlook forecast video. Thank you all for joining, trying some new things here. New microphone, a little bit of a different camera position. I kind of like this one. What do you guys think? And if you like that last video that I posted, which was Meg and I, where we had our first podcast together, Small Talk, let me know what you think of that podcast, because the views were actually some of the most successful views I had in a video in the past few weeks. So I think a lot of people are watching this. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And also, while you're down there, to get the latest videos for the weather updates, hit that little subscribe button below and then the bell icon right next to that so you get notified whenever I upload a video or I do go live sometimes. Thank you all for joining. This is meteorologist Andrew Pinero. Have a great rest of your evening. If I don't see you, have a great weekend. Then I will see you all in that next video.